Hey up everybody and welcome back. Don't worry, you haven't missed an episode. You may remember I finished last week's video because I was already up to an hour. So I sort of did the ending and then I just carried on working. And of course I forgot to do a new intro. So this is the intro to this week's, and that's why more of the bike seems to be done than when we finished off. The reason it's actually down off the lift is because I'm going to show you in a minute. Oh, not in a minute, you will see later on. I did a front mounting for this seat base. So nothing's happened. So you sit and watch to catch up to where I am now. And then I think probably we're going to start doing some engine stuff. Alright, so saddle base. Now then. Oh great, heatings, come on. Now unfortunately, of course, we've got a step there. I don't like to, as you know, I don't like to see big gaps between things. So we're going to try and sort something out with that. But we're going to use some 1-inch foam. And so there's the 1-inch foam. These are, oh, almost see that, kneeling pads. It's really good foam. It's sort of closed cell. It doesn't compress that much because obviously kneeling down you don't want it to just squish. It works perfectly. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the base 1 inch tall, and then we're going to put this on it. So I have cut a strip 1 inch wide, so that's going to go on there like that. Right, now when the rest of it's in, and then that's going to go on there. It's still not exactly right. I might try and get it to go up a little at the front, but we'll keep it narrow. So we'll make it like that. So what I'm going to do, I've marked the centre, and that's 1.5 inches, which is what this is. We're going to bend it, come back, bend there. Then I'm going to have a piece over here. Well, then the piece will go on the flat at the top. We'll have a little piece here. Well, actually, it'll sit on there, won't it? Like that. So that'll be supporting that end. And then, of course, we'll have the actual seat part here. And we're going to fasten it to this. So it's going to be fastened to that, and I think just hooked under there. So it'll push under there, flat under there, bolt it down. That'll be nice. And then we'll, I don't know, I'll maybe make it hump, come up there, just the foam. Just put a little piece of foam sort of up there like that. Just to carry it up there. I don't know. I'll think of something at the front end. I might have to get it posted because it's going to be an odd shape. It's going to... we make the top curved, come up and then curved rather than flat, or can we put the curve in the foam? Anyway, let me go and bend this so that it comes back, and then bend it there, and we'll start by making this part of the frame, then the top. Alright, so we might as well use this, mightn't we? And I thought I'd go mad look, and I got the angle I want. So let's see if this will work. There, it goes up like that. That goes there like that. It's more of an angle than that. And why didn't that work? Oh. So nice if I actually knew what the hell I was doing, wouldn't it? I don't know how I'm supposed to do that anyway. Lot more. And of course that's too bloody much. At least with 16th it's easy enough to... You're all sitting there and all thinking, why in God's name do I watch this fella? He has no idea what he's doing. Alright, that is close enough. Let me go and check that. Well, that does seem to be right. It's straight across there. It's nicely along here. Let me go and see if I can bend the other bit. Alright, so that is on there. Now I'm going to mark it, bend that back. I cut it long, so it's only going to go to about here. Okay, let's see if I can do that. So there's those two bent. I'm going to shorten it. What we'll do is we'll just put a little bump at the front. A little bump to make it nice. Okay, so let me go and cut a piece to go on the top. Now then, do we want it to just go straight over there? Hang on. Now we want it to be nice, but I don't want to overcomplicate things. Otherwise, I just end up losing my temper with stuff. So I guess if we make it flat, curve like that. That would do, wouldn't it? I've got my doodad that makes the curves. I'm wondering, should I put a, whoops, I've moved that. Should I put a piece across there inside? But once the top's on, of course, that will all be perfectly strong. Cut a big piece, and we'll cut a section out, and I can always angle the foam a little bit so that it fits tight on there. But again, the more we complicate it, the greater the chance of me making a pig's ear of it. But anyway, let's cut a large piece out and go from there. Actually, I thought the thing to do was to fasten this down. Make this. I've got this the wrong way around, haven't I, you dipstick? I was wondering why it wouldn't move. Actually, it's not much of a curve. Okay, I can make some marks, and I've got my very small curve to cut out of there. In fact, that's such a small curve. That doesn't catch the actual curve, does it? Let me cut the top piece and then we'll go from there. Alright, so made a cardboard template, at least of the back end of this. So that is going to go on there like thus, right? And it's pretty well close enough. So let me go and cut this piece of alloy and then we can, you see I'm only going to go up to there. We'll cut those edges off as well. There's the alloy cut. So let me clean this up and just tack it in a couple of places and I'll cut these ends as well. So that's tacked and the ends cut to size. So where's my bit of foam? Look at that. I just can't cut that out of that piece of foam. How annoying is that? Little piece missing this side. Suppose I could patch it. But anyway, as you see, that goes up to there, and then, as I say, with just a little bit of a curve there. Right, let me weld this up. And then what we're going to have to do here is cut a little notch, weld a piece on to come up to bolt to there, and we're welding the notch so that it goes in flush with the mudguard. Probably going to make it awkward for upholstering, but I'm sure there's a way around it. So I've welded that up. I'm just looking at it, wondering whether I should make this round. Because I've just thought I've got to fill the back end in. Maybe I should make that round. I don't know. Anyway, next thing I'm going to do is make the rear mounting. So what we'll do is we'll have that drilled, or a little joggle in it to get it down there, then it'll go under that, under there, and get welded on. So let me mark this out, see if I can drill a hole in the centre, and actually I'll kneel it, I think, so we can get this to bend nicely. Alright, so that's going to go on there. Let's stick a bolt through it so we've got it. It should be. It's going to go on there like that. So that wants to be bent down there, and then back up there. So let me go and put a couple of little bends in to get it to follow that. So there's that. Actually I used the brake and it worked really well. So that is going to go on there. Thusly, we'll cut that little bit out so it'll drop on flat there. We'll mark it and weld it up. Now then. That's going to go on there like that, and as I say, I'll do a little thing to just make something, so tuck it under, and then that'll pull it down on there. Could be a bit of fun. I'm thinking of rounding the ends. Glue some foam at the front to make that a little nose. Oh, do I want it to be square at the back or rounded, or when I'm out tomorrow I'll see about getting another one of these foam things. I'm going to upholster it, of course, all the way around this, so it'll be a black saddle. Did I need to cut that off there? Would it be better off? And then that would almost cover that, wouldn't it? Yes, 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 Michael. So, a nice new piece of foam to go on there. Build that up later on. And if I'm going to go straight across, then I should keep that square, shouldn't I? Yeah, so I'll probably need to put a couple of pieces in at the end. But anyway, that's a good way to bolt it on. So let me dress up. I was really chuffed with that. I went right along there, look, and along the other side. I don't think, no, I didn't dip the tungsten once. I'm not getting as good a penetration as I want. I seem to get either too much build up on the top or I go through. And when I say I go through, I mean I blow a hole. That's going to be fine. So let me weld that on there properly. Well, I've put the little end pieces in and I've dressed up the welds and what have you. So that is going to go on there like that. All I have to do now is work out a little piece to go there, the front. You know, this is all measured right and it's closer there than it is there, so that thing isn't on exactly straight. I'd found a couple of things, as you saw, that weren't exactly right, but it could be just it's an old trials frame that's been knocked about. But anyway, I think that'll look quite nice when it's black and we've got a little bit of something here. Okay, that's enough for today. See you next time. Alright, so now you've caught up to me. And the reason actually the bike was down was because I had a tiny little bit of, it's a bit redundant that, isn't it? Tiny little. I had a small piece of bronzing to do and it was easier to just roll it over to the welder than disconnect the welder, bring it over here. So I got to thinking about how I was going to fit this, and what I've done is, actually I should have filmed this because there was a way to do it. I drilled a hole in this, put a grommet in, and I bronzed a 1/4 inch piece of rod in there. So now that goes on the grommet and then it gets bolted down at the back and that's it. The way I did this actually was I drilled this hole first, put a piece of tape on there, a piece of masking tape just to make it easy, and then I put the base on because I had to get this to line up right. Bolted this on and then I put a little pen, I was able to get underneath, put a little pencil, poked it through the hole and marked the tape there. Then I drilled the hole and it was a slightly small hole to make that tight, hammered that in tight, put this on, and as I say I took it over the welder and I did a couple of spot welds to hold it and then bronzed it up. So now you are completely up to date. Now what I've decided to do, little humps and things are all going to be, I don't know. So I glued the piece back into this foam. The heating's come on. It is being bloody cold. It was, what was it? It's Sunday today. Funnily enough, it's Sunday. Friday night it was 5 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 27, that's minus 15 centigrade. so it's been bloody cold. Anyway, so I cut that. Put this back on here. That's why the heating's come on. So that, I'm going to put that on there. I cut these corners that were missing square, and what I'm going to do is just glue a couple of pieces on and then cut them. I'm going to glue this down, and then when that's glued down, I might glue a wedge on here. We'll see. I'll think of something. Anyway, that's what I was planning to do today. I don't really want to start the engine work today. We'll do that tomorrow, Monday. We'll take this engine out and start stripping it, because I've got bead blasting and stuff to do on that anyway. The head, the rocker box, cases and things. Okay, so I'm just going to, as I say, Sunday, I'm just going to potter on for an hour and see how much I get done. Alright, so there's corners put in, so now this is all right size, and I have a piece of vinyl that's big enough to do this. It's just that there is annoying me. To really be able, if I've had a sort of nose on it, if you like, I think see this I can pull and do a pretty decent job of, because it's a regular shape, and I've got a firm edge to pull it against. There you'd almost have to tailor it to go over that, and that is, well, I suppose it's beyond me, but don't fancy trying it. Okay. The other thought I had was actually, because it's going to be like that, is to make a piece here, to actually fabricate something that would go on there, because that's got to be fastened down. Don't forget, this as well is going to have foam under it, so it's actually going to be a little bit higher. Anyway, I'm not going to let it hold me up. That foam's really good. So I think we'll strip this, take the engine out, and start working on the engine. Good morning. Well, it's a late start this morning because I've been out shoveling snow. We got about 4 inches last night. And last night I was sitting and my mind kept coming back to this. I did not like this gap. So then I thought, how about making a piece to fit in? So I just knocked this piece of cardboard up. As you can see, it fits up inside there. Comes back to that. Then it would have sides on it, which would go from this onto here. Oops. And this would be made sort of, I'd make it out of light steel sheet and weld it on. And then I was looking at it and I was thinking, well, actually when that is made and it's nice and firm, I could probably then form up a curved piece. And then I was actually thinking, well, why not make a piece bonded onto the back of the tank to make the tank that shape? But I think that is being a little excessive. But I don't mind that. It stops having the big hole under there, and it'll bring that down into the seat. As I say, it won't have a gap there. So anyway, I'm going to keep thinking about that, and you can all go off and have a cup of tea or something, because I am going to change the media in the blasting cabinet and take this head and rocker box off and get those blasted, because I could be doing that while I think and picture that.
Well, I started bead blasting the head and it was coming along fine, but this bluey grey paint is really hard, and the thing with glass bead is, of course, it breaks up. It just turns to dust if you really overuse it. So I got some of it done. So what I'm going to do is leave this, take the glass bead out after I've done the cases and stuff, put the heavy duty stuff on. See, the reason I don't use that is because it makes a pitted sort of finish, which gets dirty really easily. And then I'll do this with that and then put the glass bead back in to get the good finish. But I had one comment that suggested it might be sort of Air Force grey paint, grey, because it's grey blue, but I don't see why. And I mean, the B40s certainly were used by the Army, well, the War Department B40s, but I don't see why there would be one here in the US. So anyway, we'll put that to one side, and what we're going to do, let me just swivel you around, is we will take this rocker box apart. So the reason it's done on that metal plate is because I'm going to have to heat it up in a minute. So the first thing we're going to take off is the valve lifter for the exhaust valve. That's just on some splines. These rockers are, well, no, they move alright, they're a little tight. But there'll be old oil in this. This engine had stood for a long time. Old felt sealing washer's still there, although it's now disintegrated. There it is. See the sort of conditions in. I had to give these a really good wire brush up because they had sort of crusty rust on them, and I didn't want to, when I knocked them through, I didn't want to push that into the faces of where these run. So let me just get my torch to heat them up a bit, because I know nah, they're not going to come out. Right, I've given that a pretty good heat up, sort of right through, because it's pressed in at that end, or it's a... Should have got something to get a grip of that, shouldn't I? There's one. While it's still warm, I'll turn it round and do the other side. So which side is that? Let's think. That's the exhaust side. Alright. You can see the lacquery oil on that. Anyway, I'm going to heat this up and knock the other one out, and then we'll let it cool down and we'll get all the rockers out. This should be cool enough by now. So where are we? That's the right hand side of the engine, so we'll do the inlet side first. So that just pops out. I've noticed that a lot of the times with the video my hands are in the way, but just can't be helped. Okay, so that comes out, and on this end we've got one washer. Make get all new ones for them, and that end we've got a Thackeray washer. Alright, got a little rush there because George came in. So what there are in the way of washers with these, you think you can see everything here. You'll notice that that one, the hole in it is smaller than these other two. It's because that's at this end. Like and these two go on either side of the Thackeray washer at that end. So there's everything. I also took out the little valve lifter that is the decompressor. So let me go and give this a bead blast. Alright, that's that bead blasted. So while that was cooling from me heating it up, I was having a little bit more look at this end of the tank. That's it with a side on that goes round. I think what I need to do is make it go more to there, less angular. Make it, I don't know if I can, hang on. Sort of more like that. Maybe even rather than a bend, just make it a curve to come right to here. But I think that'll look alright actually. Well, I mean, you know, when it's painted so that it matches the frame. Or I could even mask up and paint it the same red as the tank. Or do it in black to match the saddle, just to stop it being quite so obvious. Actually, black to match the saddle would probably, well, no, because it goes in here into the frame. So no, we'll do it the silver. And as I say, I can't decide whether to put a little piece across the top, but I think I'll make that up. See if I can design it so I can keep bending it. Now I've got the actual box brake, I can bend these up differently. Yeah, because if that was just curved, that's a bend I can do. That's a bend I can do. And put it in the finger and bend that side up and that side up, and then just curve them in to fit. And then I'd only have a weld at the back each, so it would be pretty good. Alright, anyway, as I say, it started late this morning, so now it's lunchtime. Alright, while I was having lunch, I kept thinking about this thing for the saddle to the tank, and it intrigued me. So I've cut a piece of, I don't know, it's about 1/16 steel. It's actually galvanized, so we'll have to sand the top off. And I'm really so intrigued. I want to see which way this goes. So we're going to try and use our amazing new machine. So this one wants to be bent that way. A bit more actually. How can I tell when this thing is at right angles? I guess when this is at a right angle, when that is vertical. Oh, I've got to get this thing bolted down, obviously. Yeah. And that one wants to go in that way. Up, then they want to be bent that way. So now I need to take a finger out so I can put that in like that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me take actually, I'll still have to take a finger out, but yeah, that bends up to that, and then we're going to curve the extra bit. Alright, I think, and if not, if I get it wrong, we'll just make another one. Oh, it actually works. Look, I can bend it. But I should have done it so I could see it, shouldn't I? Okay. Excuse me. Hey, look, bleeding well works. Okay, oh, I could do this at the other end, couldn't I? Oh, hey. Should have bought one of these before, shouldn't I? Well, will you flipping well, look at that. Hey, these things are clever, aren't they? Let's go try that on the bike, and then we'll see about how we bend those. I can't bend that in that. But, as I say, I was thinking of putting more of a curve in that than a bend. So let's go and have a look. I forgot to put a hole in it with a little pin, but I've done that now. It goes in there like that, look. That goes in there. Oh, I made it too long. I made it too long. Just out there. But other than that, actually if I cut a little bit out, a little notch out of the bottom, it'll go onto the tube further. That's what it is. Let me go and do that. I'm thinking it maybe doesn't want to be flat. I've got to put a curve on it, but so far so good. That doesn't look half bad. Don't forget, of course, when we've got this upholstered, there'll be a bit of sort of squishiness here at this joint, so you probably won't see that joint at all. I should have cut that edge at an angle to make that curve over, and then that wants to be smaller. But I can make another one of them. Yeah, I should have thought of doing that, shouldn't I? Seeing as this foam's so thick, I should have cut that at an angle to give me a curve over. And that would have made that. See, now that's going to be. But, as I say, it worked. The bend did work. That amazed me. That really is nice, the way it bends that. So now all I have, you see, is one weld out of all those bare. Let me look at it. Well, I thought to myself, if I might have to make another one, there's nothing lost in trying to modify this. So I cut a strip out of this top piece to narrow it and rebent them, and again with the thickness of the leather on, that'll work. That will work. Alright, so now all I've got to do is think about how to fold those over. I suppose I could heat them up and fold them round. Let me see. There it is on, folded round. It's not perfect now because there's still a couple of bits of bronze from where the original frame tubes were that I've got to grind off. So I couldn't get it to fit. The other thing is, yeah, I'm literally going to have to do it on the frame because it's curving round. So this side of it actually wants to be narrower than this bit. So what I'm going to do when I've got it sort of finished is I'll bronze it at the bottom. I welded the tops up to make it one piece so that it would be stiffer, you know, because if I'd tried to hammer that without this joint welded up, it would have just bent. So we'll put it on, we'll get it bronzed in a couple of places, and then I can fold that in nicely. So I think now I'll have a little go at making a curved piece for the top, and then that I think that looks fine. Yeah, there's still that, I mean, even with the piece in there, hang on, let me move you. You see we've got that piece in there. That's the tank up as far as it'll go. So actually I made that a little long because I wanted to be right at the end, but or do I need a round piece? What I need to do is upholster the seat, because it looks a bit weird, you know, with the alloy and then the orange rubber and black print. If I can get that upholstered so that it looks the way it's going to look, yeah. Okay. Well, I couldn't resist having a little go at putting a curved top on this. Still got to do something with this end a little bit, but that makes that a lot better. So in the sides, when I've got it bronzed on the sides, you'll notice as well, some of you will notice I bronzed this top on. And I do get questions about why do I bronze some things and weld others. In fact, I got one question this week about it. The simple answer of why I bronzed that on there was because when I was holding that in place and everything and concentrating on getting it right so I could spot it, I grabbed a rod and spotted 2 or 3 places, and when I lifted my visor up, I bronzed it instead of welding it. So I finished off bronzing it. It's not bad. I think it fits in with that. It doesn't foul anything when that's bronzed on at the bottom and it's hammered round nicely and bronzed. I think that'll look alright. It looks better than a great big gap and being able to see up in there. It actually gives that something better to go on to. Very good. Alright, time to knock off. Right, well, the next few jobs I'm going to be doing are a sort of time consuming but not really good video because I'm going to be doing bead blast and stuff. But you'll notice there's no foam on there. I thought I'd have a little go at putting some vinyl on it, and it looked awful with the square corners. So I've rounded both of those, and of course I couldn't do that with the foam on, and then I've also got to weld a 1-inch piece around. So I'm going to take this to the upholsterer because it's going to be beyond me. So I'll tell him to put the foam at a bit of a slope and what have you. Oh, I noticed as well in the video that it always looks as if there's a huge gap here. That's because the mudguard isn't bolted up. See, that is touching into that. So that's one job I'm doing. I'll show you another one. So I took the chain case off to sand and polish it, get the worst bits out with the sander, and then use some, I always forget the name of this stuff and I can't read it on there now. Scotch Brite, and then I'll put it on the polisher. But also this actually isn't a B40 chain case, but they're all the same size. So I think this actually might, well, it's not off a Triumph, but it's off a B25, something like that. So it has a plate that goes in there to doing the timing. Well, I don't need that, so I wasn't sure if I had the plate, and I suddenly thought, well, I don't need it. It's like the points cover on the other side with the later engine. So I just cut a piece of 1/8-inch alloy, welded that in. It's still hot. I'll sand that and get it all finished, and then I'll polish that chain case. Right, so there's the chain case done. Well, it's not actually completely done because there's just, whenever you do an alloy, it looks fine until you polish it. And then the different grades of alloy polish slightly differently. That's why they're sort of the people who really handcraft nice tanks, when they weld the seams, they generally gas weld actually, but they'll actually cut thin, very thin strips of the alloy they're using for the tank, so they get a perfect match in the weld. It's difficult to see, but there is a slight, because here of course we've got the case, we've got the piece of 6061 I put in, and we've got the 4043 welding rod. But I've still got a few marks actually. I thought I got them all. And the other thing is, when you polish it, you find that, oh, it looked perfectly smooth, but it isn't. But anyway, that came up a lot better than it was. So that's that bit done. Lunchtime. Right, here's another job jobbed. There's the new curved ends put in there. I think that looks much better. Yeah. So I'll take that to the upholsterer on Friday. Might be a couple of 3 weeks even before he gets round to getting it done. But we'll see what he comes up with. Alright, I'm going to take the oil tank off. Hang on. Oh yes, you can see it, but anyway. I'm going to take the oil tank off and the engine out. And then when they're out, what I'm going to do is I can get at these bits here. I'm going to get the remains of the old bronzing taken off there, and we're going to get this put on. And it suddenly struck me actually, I don't know what I was thinking about. I get these strange moments when I said that I had to wrap around there. It doesn't, does it? What I really want to do is cut this in a curve to match so that it just follows that. So when all this is off, I can do that. Alright, so that is all bronzed on, and as you will see, I made another little bit to go at the front of it, so it sort of puts it all in nicely. And the other thing about this is it's a flat bit just where the back of the tank's going to go, because of course the tank's going to be sitting on foam rubber, so I can put a piece of rubber on that. The tank will go down nicely onto the rubber, and then a strap under here will be really good. So let me zoom you out and I will show you the tank and the saddle. So get ready for this. Alright. So this, as I say, I will take in on Friday. Leave it with the man. So that still goes on there nicely. Now, as I say, that there
will just be nice for this, for a piece of rubber to go on. So that sits on there very nicely. Now, stands out a bit because it's shiny, but I think when that is painted the same as the rest of the frame here, and we've got the saddle up to there, that will look fine. And actually I just had a quick check on the Greaves to see how they did their saddle to tank thing, and their saddle stops short of the tank. I mean it's more on a level with it, but there is a gap in here. It doesn't, you'd think this was maybe made for the tank to go up against. Maybe the ones on the motocross ones did, I don't know. But anyway, that's done. So what I'm going to do now is completely strip this. I don't know how much you can see there, the engine's out, all sorts of other stuff. Yeah. So I will completely strip it, finish off the last few little bits of bronzing, which isn't much. So I'll probably get all that done this afternoon. And if that's done, then I can prepare for painting. So also I've got to do the tank. I've got some of the Caswell stuff to line it with. So it's got to be washed out with hot soap. Pardon me. Hot soapy water and screws to roughen up the inside. So I might even get this painted. Now, next week is Christmas, but Linda's going down to see her family in Baltimore for a couple of days, so I might do some painting those days. We'll see. Alright, so that's going to be it for this week, because as I say, all I've got to do is I'll be spending my time bronzing and bead blasting engine cases and stuff like that. So today is Sunday for you. Wednesday is going to be Christmas. So I will not only tell you to stay safe, but I will tell you to really enjoy your Christmas. And I'll see you in about a week.